Hello, my name is Stephen W. Thomas. I run the community site biztalkgurus.com. Today I'm going to walk through creating a new virtual machine with Windows Azure. In this module, we're first going to take a look at the prerequisite items needed to complete the demo shown at the end of this section. Then we're going to take a look at what is infrastructure as a service, known as IaaS or IaaS. Next, we're going to take a look at Windows Azure IaaS fundamentals. After we cover the fundamentals, we will do a demo of creating a new virtual machine using the Windows Azure Management Portal. Lastly, we'll tie everything together with a review of what we've covered in this module. In order to complete the demo shown at the end of this section, there's a few prerequisite items that need to be covered. First off, you will need a Windows Azure account. The exact details of creating an account are outside the scope of this module. Currently, Microsoft is offering a free 90-day trial of Windows Azure, which includes some basic usage each month. Once you have a Windows Azure account, you will need to ensure that the Virtual Machine Preview feature is enabled. This is done inside the Management Portal. Another important piece to point out is that even though Virtual Machines is a preview feature, you will still be charged for using them. Charges will include bandwidth usage, storage usage, compute usage, and storage transactions. What is infrastructure as a service? Infrastructure as a service is a pillar of cloud computing alongside platform as a service and software as a service. It takes the concept of the on-premise data center and geographically relocates it into a multi-tenant shared server ecosystem with a focus on delivering what you need when you need it. It gives you nearly unlimited scale, high uptime with a guaranteed SLA, no server maintenance, and ease of use. In doing so, you pay for only what you use. The traditional thinking of new hardware being a capital expenditure and taking weeks to provision is no longer valid. With IaaS, new virtual environments can be set up in minutes with a lifespan of hours, days, months, or even years. This means that you could set up a test environment in the morning, run your tests in the afternoon, and tear down that environment in the evening. This would result in a cost of only a few dollars for your use of that environment for the day. Several of the large cloud providers are already offering IaaS solutions. Today, Amazon has EC2, which is their virtual machine environment offering, and Rackspace has their IaaS offering, which is known as cloud servers. Recently, Microsoft has entered the IaaS market with the introduction of Windows Azure Virtual Machines. This feature is currently a preview feature with general availability expected in the upcoming months. Let's take a look at the fundamentals of Windows Azure Virtual Machines. Windows Azure is based on the main concept of a service. This service can host different types of roles like a worker role, a web role, and in this case, a persistent VM role. Currently, a single virtual machine can be created in one of 5 sizes. Sizes range from extra small to extra large, depending on the amount of RAM and CPU that is required. When creating a new virtual machine, a gallery of pre-created, pre-priced images is available for applications like SQL Server 2012 and BizTalk Server 2013. You can also upload your own custom virtual hard disk or custom image. A virtual machine has one operating system disk. This OS disk is listed inside the Management Portal and links to a virtual hard disk inside a container in your Azure storage account. A virtual machine can have 0 to 16 data disks. Data disks are also linked to VHDs inside a storage account. The number of data disks depends on the virtual machine size. Data disks should be used for anything not related to the core operating system. Once created, access to the virtual machine is done using Remote Desktop. Let's take a look at a demo of how to create a new virtual machine using the Windows Azure Management Portal. I have already logged into the portal going to windowsazure.com and logging in with the credentials that already have virtual machine previews enabled. You can see on the left side of the screen that I have no existing Windows Azure artifacts. Let's get started by clicking on Virtual Machines on the left. This will take me to the main Virtual Machine submenu where I could see virtual machine instances, images, and disks that are created. To create a new virtual machine, click on the Create a Virtual Machine link in the center of the screen. Here the new virtual machine window will launch. We have 2 options available to us. The first one is Quick Create, where we can quickly create a virtual machine simply providing a DNS name, selecting an image and size, and giving it administrator password. In this case, we want to do from gallery, so we have a rich set of options available to us when creating our virtual machine. Once we click on From Gallery, you'll see here that we have a whole list of pre-built images that we can select from. We also have the ability to have custom images and custom VHDs assigned on the left. In this case, I'm going to select Windows Server 2008 R2 SP1 and select Next. Here's the virtual machine configuration screen. I can give the virtual machine a name, and I can set the administrator password. I can also select the size of the virtual machine that I want for default. In this case, I'm going to leave it as small. This is the virtual machine mode screen. I have two options here. The second option is to connect to an existing virtual machine. I would select this option if I wanted to create a high availability scenario. The first option is a standalone virtual machine, which I will do in this case. To create a standalone virtual machine, I need a globally unique DNS name, and it will do validation of this name to ensure that it is globally unique. I can select which storage account I want to use. Since I have no existing storage accounts, it will automatically create one for me. And I can also select what region I would like my virtual machine and storage account to be created into. The virtual machine and the storage account must exist in the same region. I'm going to select West United States and click Next. Here I have some virtual machine options. The option is if I want to assign it to an availability set. Availability sets are used to ensure that multiple artifacts are all on the same rack inside the Windows Azure Data Center. In this case, I'm just going to leave it set as none and click Complete. As you can see now, the virtual machine is provisioning. This will take anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes. I'll return once the provisioning is complete. Now that the virtual machine has been created, you will see it listed here in the running state. You will also notice on the left that I now have one item listed as a virtual machine and one item listed in the storage account. If we want to get more information about this virtual machine, we can simply click on it to dive into the details. This is the main dashboard of this virtual machine. Over here on the right, you will see various pieces of information about this virtual machine. For starters, you will see the status. In this case, it is running. You will see the DNS name. The DNS name is what is used to connect to this virtual machine via remote desktop. We also see a series of other virtual machine properties, such as the host name, IP addresses, size, and the number of disks. You will see here that there is one disk associated with this, and that type of disk is an OS disk, which means it's an operating system disk. We can scroll back up here and return back to the main virtual machine portal page. At the top, let's click on disks. We will see here that we have one disk that was created for us, and that this is attached to demo 1234, which was the virtual machine that we created. Let's click down here and check out the item that was created in our storage account. Let's dive into the storage account and let's check out the containers. While this loads, you see here we have one VHDS container. This was all automatically created for us, and we can dive into here. And this is actually the blob storage associated with the operating system disk that was created based off of the image when we created our virtual machine. This concludes our demo of how to create a virtual machine using the Windows Azure Management Portal. Let's review what we've covered in this module. First, we talked about what is infrastructure as a service and how it relates to other areas of cloud computing. Then we took a look at Microsoft's offering in this space. Next, we covered some of the basic fundamentals of what comprises Windows Azure virtual machines. Last, we learned how to create our own virtual machine using the Windows Azure Management Portal.